Studio is Ryan Mauro. He's the founder of WorldThreat.com and the National Security Advisor for Christian Action Network. Good to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Your reaction?
Well, my reaction is, first of all, the Pakistanis had to know that at least some sort of high-value target was there. It was almost as if there was a giant blaring sign saying that someone was hiding there. It was a 3-story, $1 million mansion, and it was built in 2005. So I'd like to know where bin Laden was before that site gave him safe harbor.
Who was the owner?
Well, we don't know. And so that's the big question, though, is that this massive construction had to go on. Someone had to approve it, and people knew what was going on. And when you have a giant 12-foot fence with barbed wire at the top, and you don't have telephone lines or internet, and the people are burning their trash every day, it should raise alarms.
To say the least. Guys, any comments on that?
How do you hide a 6'6" tall fella who needs dialysis on a constant basis for 10 years? It's always been fascinating to me who travels with a large security detail. How do you do that? Where do you put the dialysis machine, in your pocket?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It's, again, the glaring signs were everywhere. What do you think about the fact that he was caught, or he was killed, surrounded by basically his youngest wife, a couple couriers, a human shield, once again, the cowardly Usama bin Laden and his creepy sidekicks, but not this massive security team that we kept hearing that he would be traveling with, or who would always be surrounding him?
Well, that showed that he didn't really trust anybody and that the ranks of al-Qaeda had thinned. There was an audio tape released by an al-Qaeda leader in Pakistan talking about the drone strikes, and it was sheer panic. And this was a public video, or a public audio tape. So that's very significant. They're saying there's spies everywhere. We have very little room to move. So that shows just how weakened al-Qaeda has become.
How does this killing change the game in terms of sort of, I guess, the relationships between the United States and all these other countries, Pakistan obviously topping the list? And we discussed this a little bit before you came in, but I'd like to hear your perspective on it.
Well, it's definitely going to hurt relations with Pakistan because everyone should know everyone should know that they are not the best ally. And at the same time,
what do you think about the fact that Pervez Musharraf came out so quickly today and is essentially scolding the United States, saying how dare us go into his country without informing
He wants to be leader again. He's just playing to anti-American sentiment. It's very unpopular for Pakistan to allow U.S. forces onto their soil, and so this is just politics.
Hank, you're nodding.
Exactly, that's what we said before. He wants to be in charge again. The best way to do that is to portray Pakistan as the poor relative that is constantly abused by the United States, used when it needs it, and then cast aside when it doesn't. That's been his positioning. That's what he said publicly, and why not?
Speaking of burning trash, his body was burned. Reportedly, his ashes tossed out to sea because no countries wanted to take him, or they didn't want to have a place that he could be martyred and people can make pilgrimages to. Your thoughts on that?
What other options really existed?
I think a lot, but a lot of people that I spoke with, friends this morning, people around, the city, were saying, why do we care what happens to him? You burn his ashes and toss him on the barbed wire.
I don't agree. I mean, we've made a history in this country of bringing criminals of all kinds to justice. If you look at our attacks on al-Qaeda, we've taken these people, brought them here to New York or wherever, tried them. The International War Crimes Tribunal met in Nuremberg in 1946 and set the standard for what should be the appropriate behavior toward international criminals. We did not do that here, and that there are the people who feel strongly about that have some reason to feel that way.
Do you agree?
Absolutely. And the other point I'd make is that pretty soon you're going to be hearing a lot of people saying, well, once you kill bin Laden, just someone else is going to replace him that's just as bad. I disagree. I think he was a larger-than-life character because he was the world's most wanted man, and he had the U.S. military coming after him, and so that really played into his image. It's going to be tough to replace him.